If we happen to be considering Nicoletta Rossellini's vocal capacity as a potential candidate of term attribution, I think Siren qualifies. It's a deserved descriptor. And Siren's Call, because of that, automatically feels like a fitting name that carries with it that lure effect that is reminiscent to the mythology that inspired the term. And in fact, considering Siren, not to imply that there's a competition here, but it is a widely afforded attribution I provide to many female vocalists in the European metal foray, not a surprise if you've witnessed as many as I have. But each is very differentiated according to their own abilities and signature employment. And Nicoletta has I think a unique presentation to her voice, even with, again, the early window I have. And it's not much, just 2 pieces from ALTERIUM's offerings, though as I understand from previous exposure, what's been provided to me via comment insight, and from just some light reading I did in terms of adjacent groups she's been attached to, we have more options to explore later on to perhaps see those Siren-like vocal abilities employed in a unexpected scale, in a vocal register that exists more from what I could see specifically on Drag Me to Hell, and by complement as well, the Sabaton cover for Bismarck, it kind of rests in a octave 4 to 5 window, like between C4 and the B5 range. But just kind of, again, the window that I'm seeing, but maybe it's a little more limited than B5, and maybe extending it a bit from what was revealed. But I thought it was interesting to have more of a mellow presentation, but still with a power metal groove. And I'm not surprised that it is of strength, given many connections in terms of European exposure. Many of you know I like taking the self-diving journey. It's been a fun ride, and we humor many European talents, or specifically within the introductory space. And I do have a special place in my heart when it comes to smaller names. I cover a good field here. But when you get to study a group's evolution from the origin to present-day standing in future offerings, there's something special about that experience. And ALTERIUM awarded a good window, I thought, in terms of the Italian power metal voice from, I believe, AFM Records background, which I've humored a couple of their groups now, and they have a good library. Many I have to get to at some point, but from what I've sampled, I've liked the selection they carry. ALTERIUM is another name that I find is quite beautiful. And I would imagine, again, many of you are approaching, I hope for this, with music, right? Of course, it's best enjoyed in company, as I always say, irrespective to vantage point. I know some of you maybe are already familiarized to Nicoletta Rossellini's vocal capabilities. You were going in, that's what you made clear to me from other suggestions in her piece catalog, we'll call it. And of course, you and other fans as well of ALTERIUM that maybe predated me, you're welcome here, but perhaps some of you as well are taking initiation focus and you have not yet listened to this name. And this will be a first opportunity for their newest single, Siren's Call. The second original number coming off of, again, what we've humored thus far in the Warcraft-inspired Drag Me to Hell, the original single piece, which I at the time and still think was a great piece, and a bit distinctive in our power metal venture history, where some of her numbers get a bit more explosive and adventurous. I found Drag Me to Hell had a pleasant, mellowed facade. Kind of, again, a real balanced piece, but one that had great tracking to it, and again, competent vocal delivery, great instrumental scoring, good riffs, again, signature power metal voice, just told a bit differently and a little more on a subtle side. And then we had the Sabaton cover experience, which, yes, before anybody else asks, Sabaton is coming. I know people have said based on that experience, and I completely agree, we are now how many covers into their work? I'm getting to Sabaton at some point. Fast tracking that name, I learned from both Bismarck and some other complimentary Sabaton covers from other groups, and I thought the efforts there were exercised proficiently as well. We already got a good window with their work on 2 more numbers, but let's see it increase again in the originalist presentation with Siren's Call. Will this again have that same lure effect in what we witnessed together, beyond just the name, compared to maybe other Siren numbers I'm thinking of at the top of my head, directly by that title, but I haven't gotten to yet? But still have that poll if you know ones I'm referencing here. Let's witness together. But I found ALTERIUM to be a great introduction, as I do any artist I spotlight here. There's not been one tune or one artist I've not loved humoring, even more so especially on introductory status. There's a pleasant journey in that, especially that we get to take that ride together. Let's witness this piece together on mutual interaction, perhaps. Or maybe you've heard Siren's Call in advance to me. I don't know when this is, and again, I'm going to try to put it up as soon as I can, but hopefully some of us are taking that initiation journey together. Though again, I want anybody to feel welcome here, so you might be considering somebody from the lens of you're an informed listener, whereas I'm not, and I'm getting the fresh exposure. However we approach, I think we'll have a fun time. That's my suspicion of ALTERIUM. That's what we witnessed in the beginning. Let's see it expand with Siren's Call. We already started a good groove. Strong bass to this work. Engaging threshold, another fun riff climbs. I like the key choice. And you know, I'm starting to see this cohesion among Italian talents, and more humor. I see a thread with this one. I like the subtlety of the vocal touch here a lot. It's an extremely delicate delivery. This chorus is quite adventurous. I like how the transition in really worked. And its slight deviation from verse roots is quite fascinating, but I like it. And it gives us a window into a vocal evolution. It's a bit of a higher climb from what we witnessed on Drag Me to Hell together. It's nice to get in that expanse. And the lighter touch on the vocals once again imbue the siren energy, clearly. The intermixing of the vocals and that vibration on her voice on the soothes word, that was great. This is a beautiful power metal piece. Favorite of mine in the European metal library, I'm being honest with you. Not that I like to rank things, but I've already got a connection to it. There's a real original path with this one. Key tracking is phenomenal here. The layered riffs and the changes on build and pacing match up again a delicate chorus delivery on vocals. It's a really interesting pairing, but it works. It's not in any way disassociated. It feels faithful. I've been summoned. You have to appreciate the subtlety of that number and honestly how advanced it is. It's a really, you know, and this was indicated as well previously with Drag Me to Hell. We did see those key shifts. So when the chorus comes up and we see that variability readily exercised and offered, it does feel slightly familiar, though the particular choice here on where the keys go, it feels... And I'm not trying to undercut Drag Me to Hell in any way. I still like it. It's just the voice and the transition, if we compare songs here, not in a ranking position, but just on employment of that key switch and where it takes us, Drag Me to Hell offers us a more evident distortion of expectation. And that was a fine experience. Siren's Call, though, tells a different tale, if we consider the key mapping. This one comes off to me as much more unified. Let's consider our initiation into Siren's Call via the opening instrumental, which flows into the first verse. What we notice is there's a distinct key choice with different sections of the piece in terms of verse or chorus, that they're split. And I think the flow, the way we transition from one side of the piece to another also works. It's a very clear vision on this one. But the choruses, I mean, again, when you talk about key changes, I've said this in the past, I've expressed, there's been songs that I've entertained over many years where there are key choices that feel like they make sense and they're logical for the way the number proceeds and that it's an earned destination. There are others that perhaps you've finished the piece and you sit back in this mood of, oh, I kind of wanted you to reside back in the original choice, and that key might feel quite disruptive and slightly disorienting in a way that leaves you longing again for the original key return and reference. Of course, you get that when you replay the number, but still you end on a bit of a differentiated note from what your expectations presume. Siren's Call, of course, has a wonderful structure and framework. We start and end on the same flow. But the middle breaks, I really like the mood on the choruses. The key choice works, the vocal balance, and the delicate nature to Nicoletta's touch here, which, to my knowledge, with what we've witnessed before on Note Choice, I'm thinking specifically of Drag Me to Hell. Yes, this one climbs up. I think the highest point on that number, I could be wrong on this, was the a C, I want to say it was a C5. This one, at least when we introduced to the line of, let me see here, which one was it? It was like right in the beginning. Siren's Call, Hear My Cry. When Here comes up, I think we hit a D5. So with this piece, we get a broadened range. And because of that higher incline on the vocals, which is a perfect meshing with the chorus choice, it really works. When I say this particular piece comes across so cohesively to me in a unified spirit, I mean it. Everything is in perfect balance with this number, but we speak about the siren effect of it being a lure. As the vocals climb, the volume recedes a bit because you can hear that delicate faintness, but again, the proficiency on voice. Nicoletta really impressed me here with her vocal tones. Again, it's such a nice meshing on any front to the song you see. And again, marrying that key choice and how delicate that mood is to, again, siphon that, or siphon's the wrong word, to elicit the effect of the siren call, to balance that with the power metal root. Again, the way we initiate is fine. I like the riff structure on this. Again, it has that dominant power metal voice, but it still feels somewhat directly tamed. It's nice. It's not too, like other power metal numbers, which I've spoken of highly from different groups. There are numbers that are quite wild in their tracking. Siren's Call, though, feels meticulously controlled and reined in. I like that mood. We consider what we want to envision in terms of a siren-like experience if we happen to be the ones that the siren is summoning. You enlist that effect perfectly with this number. So far, the Alterium originals were 2 for 2. And I knew we'd have a fun time, but I'm really endeared by the mood on this one. I administer, as I said, the term siren quite frequently. Not an exception at all of Alterium, and it's great to see the growth. Like I said, when you get to study a band in early initiation and emergence of welcoming, you take that path, and you have the origin in mind. It's fun to see the execution along the way and the growth. This one definitely feels like a progressive piece. Though I like our earliest initiations, I appreciate this one greatly. I think it's a really fun number. So far, out of their library, and again, I'm reluctant to rank things, so I don't want to override any of the numbers, but this one I think it's a particular favorite. I'd love to hear that feeling and shared of you down below. Of course, music is a subjective experience. I'm open to hearing any opinion on it, and your vantage point if you wish to offer that. If you're a fan of Alterium that precedes me, or Nicoletta's work in other respects to different groups that I have obviously to catalog in terms of my master reference list of potential considerations one day whenever I get to them, and currently get through phase 2, which is extensive, or if you happen to be an initiate listener, in many ways like myself. I'd love to hear what you think of this piece down below. I think it's great. A triumphant work from Alterium, and again, we're only 3 numbers into their career thus far. I have seen reference that there are other pieces forthcoming, so we'll have more opportunities to humor their work in the future, but Siren's Call, I really like this one. A work of a lot of potential, not just on, again, first temptation, but when you experience it and you get to see the full picture that the piece captures. I really like that piece. Precise control, beautiful handling, and the intermixing on several notes. Vocals, balance on the the power metal voice, the keys, the switches, the narration, even the storytelling. Everything clicks. It's a cohesive piece, and one that perfectly elicits its namesake. I like this one a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.